This is John Caldwell at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, we're going to compare two vertical slow juicers. And now, the thing I want to say is this. You know, my favorite style juicer is the vertical slow juicer. It's basically like a combination of a high-speed centrifugal ejection machine, like a Breville juice fountain that many of you guys may already own, that runs really fast. It oxidizes the juice by adding extra oxygen in the juice. Consequently, according to scientific studies that have been published, lower some of the polyphenol content, antioxidant content in there, and consequently can lower the ability of the juice to hinder disease, right? According to a study that I saw. So for that reason, I like the vertical slow juicer, which is a combination between the high-speed machine and a horizontal style machine that can take actually fairly long to juice. The horizontal style machines tend to juice things like leafy greens, wheatgrass, the best, but they don't do so good on fruits and can take a while to use. So in a recent test, I juiced like a head of celery, and in a vertical, it took me 30 seconds less when making approximately 16 ounces of juice. So if you're making 32 ounces of juice, that's going to save you like a whole minute. If you're making 2 quarts of juice, that's going to save you 2 minutes, and 3 quarts, 3 minutes, and so on and so on and so on. Now, if you're juicing small quantities, the savings is not significant. In addition, I like the verticals because they will handle things like leafy greens, like hard vegetables and fruits in many different combinations, although not all combinations. Like if you're doing straight leafy greens, this is not the machine you guys want to get. But if you want to juice a little bit of everything, this is definitely the machine you should consider because they are the fastest and produce the highest nutrition, for the given time. All right, I'll post a link down below where I compare the VSJ843 vertical juicer against horizontal, a twin gear, and even a high-speed machine juicing celery that has been quite a popular video lately. Anyways, the juicers we have today is actually my favorite juicer that I use in my kitchen. It's the Omega VSJ843 by Omega, and we're going to compare that today to the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Chef Model CS600. Now you're saying, John, that's not a fair comparison, man, because a Kuvings juicer there, that juicer costs about 4 times as much as the VSJ843. You could literally buy 4 of these guys just about for the price of one of these. So why would somebody want to buy this machine? Well, this is a commercial quality juicer with a heavy-duty motor that can run 24 hours straight without stopping for your juicing needs. It also does come with 2 top sets. That's this whole top section on the juicer, so you can switch this out after every quart of juice so you don't get clogging and backing up. That being said, this model can clog and back up. Even though it's called commercial, doesn't mean it's not going to clog or back up if you're not using the right techniques to juice in any vertical juicer. I will post a link down below to the video entitled Juice Like a Pro in Any Vertical Slow Juicer. And if you get a vertical slow juicer or already own one, you want to watch that video and follow my instructions literally to the T to make sure that you get the best performance and the best use out of these machines so it does not clog or jam up on you when you're using it. That being said, this will clog and jam just like any other vertical juicer. Just because it's commercial and has a powerful motor, it still has small little passageways that the pulp needs to flow out. The other thing I want to say is that I already have made a comparison video that I'll post also linked down below comparing the Omega VSJ843 to the little brother of this guy, the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Elite C7000 model. And I also have compared the C7000 home model to the commercial model Kuvings. And that being said, when I compared the commercial model to the home model, basically the home and the commercial model have the same exact yield, so you're not really going to get more juice by buying the commercial. It's just the fact that you could run the base for up to 24 hours, whereas the home models like the VSJ843, like the Kuvings C7000 model, has a 30-minute duty cycle, which means you're only supposed to run the juicer for 30 minutes at a time before you should turn it off, let it rest, let it cool down for at least another half hour before you start using it again. That being said, on a regular basis, I make 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 quarts of juice in my VSJ843, pretty much running non-stop without any issues. And if you guys don't want to watch this long video, I'm going to tell you guys what will probably happen, although, if I was a bet man, I would bet on me, but I don't actually bet or gamble. I'm going to say that based on what we're going to test today, I think the VSJ843 is going to work a little bit better. It's going to make a higher yield. It's going to put less pulp in the juice, as you guys will see, and also it costs basically a lot less. But once again, if you do have a commercial juice bar, then this is not the machine for you because it's not commercially rated for the usage, whereas this one is commercially rated for heavy-duty usage, but it does not have the NSF certification or sanitation certification that is required to operate in many juice bars. Some municipalities do not some health departments in some municipalities do not require the ETL NSF sanitation requirement to be met so that you could use it. I have sold this juicer to many people, but also some people, you know, have found out that they cannot use it where they live. So if you're in a podunk town, chances are you could probably use it, but if you're in a big city, chances are you probably will not be able to get away with using this non-certified machine. The other thing that I will mention is that Kuvings has told me, which I don't know if it's true or not, they're working on a version of this machine that will be certified, that's going to probably change fairly significantly, and hopefully that'll be out by the end of this year, which is 2018. Anyways, on with the show. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty comparing these two machines. So both these are vertical slow juicers, and that's pretty much where the similarities end, alright? So over on this side, the Omega VSJ843 has a feed chute that's that big. So this is about the standard feed chute on normal vertical slow juicers, whereas the feed chute on the Kuvings whole slow juicer Chef is actually the largest feed chute of any vertical slow juicer. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a flap that comes down. This measures 3.5 inches wide, so that's actually huge. You could put whole apples in there without any issue, and then you have a smaller feed chute in the back, which is actually a little bit smaller than the VSJ843 feed chute. In addition, the bottom of this housing here is flat, whereas the bottom of this housing actually has a nice shape to it. What that means to me is that, you know, I have seen on the wide feed chute vertical machines that sometimes items will get stuck in this top part and not ever get into the juicer, whereas on the VSJ that's going to happen much less. We will open up the machines after we're done juicing and kind of see what's left in there. And then let's see, next piece is on both machines is we have the auger. And so the auger on both machines, here's the auger out of the Kuvings whole slow juicer Chef commercial model, and here's the auger out of the VSJ843. So these, I mean, pretty much the same material. Both of them have the new design with basically is recess underneath there. Actually, I would say the VSJ is a bit wider underneath there, which is nice, so you can get your finger underneath there to clean all the pulp out when you're done. Don't be alarmed when pulp gets clogged up underneath here when you're done juicing. That's completely normal, and that's how the juicer is designed. I do like on the Kuvings that there's actually it's lined with a stainless steel inset on the bottom, and there is not such lining on the VSJ843. You'll also notice on the VSJ843 there's basically two wing tips, 1 and 2, and this doesn't really act like a cutter blade, but kind of is like a cutter blade, whereas you come around it actually chunks off pieces to make them a little bit smaller, so that when you are processing something like carrots, it'll chunk off small pieces and then grind it up, you know, fairly well, whereas this one pretty much there's no cutter, it just kind of gets in there and just gets crushed and ground up. Next piece coming out is the juicing screen. Here's the juicing screen on the Kuvings, and here is the juicing screen on the VSJ843. So while these kind of look fairly similar and they look about pretty much like the same, I would say that the VSJ843 probably has a little more surface area just because the screen areas are wider overall. And there's areas on the screen on the Kuvings, you know, larger areas where there actually are no holes, whereas on the Omega there's actually a lot more hole density, alright? In addition, on the bottom of the Omega screen, it is open, as you guys can see, and the bottom of the Kuvings screen is completely closed with a little outlet hole there. So what this means is that all the pulp needs to actually travel through this hole to go out and get ejected. This hole can be a blockage point for pulp backing up inside the bowl. I do like that there's a bottom on this juicing screen there, because basically this makes cleanup a breeze. All the pulp will be contained within this, so it will not get into the bowl to make that messed up. Let's see, anchoring points. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3 anchoring points that anchor this screen down into the bowl. Original versions had like 1 anchoring point, and on the Omega there's let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 anchoring points that are actually fairly wide that'll help stabilize this into the bowl so you don't get any additional movement. The other thing I will say is that when juicing carrots, as we'll see in this video, for some reason the VSJ screen does not ever seem to get clogged up that bad with carrots, whereas the Kuvings screen, for example, will literally get, you know, carrots like clogged in there. So this makes cleaning a lot more difficult on the Kuvings. In addition, the Kuvings, you have to get into the inside of the bottom layer of the screen, and that can be a little bit challenging to get in with the supplied tools that they give you with the Kuvings. I like that on the Omega it's actually totally an open bottom, so you could kind of go from the bottom, go from the top, and whereas in this guy you have to clean it all from the top. Next, getting down to the wiping blade. The wiping blade basically, let's see, yeah, they're similar sizes, and basically the wiping blade's function is like the windshield wipers on your car. So this spins around as the juicer's running to wipe down the screen so you get the highest yield. Also tries to keep the bowl a little bit cleaner there. Now these are driven in different ways. Number one, on the Kuvings there's these little teeth on the bottom, or gear spokes, that are actually driven by a little gear spoke on the bottom of the juicing bowl. So this means that there'll be additional nooks and crannies for juice to hide and places for you to brush out to clean. Whereas on the Omega there are no such gear marks because the wiping blade is actually driven by the wing tips here on the auger. So I do like that a lot more. You know, one less thing to clean makes it a lot easier. Both these machines have basically silicone flaps that are removable, so you can get these out and clean them, which I do recommend you do like maybe at least once a month, if not every other week, or every week if you're pretty anal and like things clean. Alright, and then finally getting down to the juicing bowl. These are the two juicing bowls here. The Kuvings definitely look bigger and it has a bigger capacity. This measures up to 16 ounces, up to 450 milliliters. This one actually is measured up to 500 and will actually even hold a little bit more. And let's see, looking at the bottom of this, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's basically a gearing system in here. So when the motor is running, it basically drives this little gear inside here. So underneath this part, you know, if you wash it, water could kind of get in here and then dry. It's not really going to be that hard to clean, but you know, there's just a lot more things in here to where things in pulp could hide, so that could make it a little bit more challenging. Let's see. Other than that, they both have the little flap here to close the door, so you could keep the juice inside. You could do mixing inside if you'd like. I don't necessarily like to do that. I believe it lowers the yield a little bit. And then this has that, once again, the gear that spins around on the inside, and there are no gaskets in the bottom of this bowl, which is kind of nice. The gasket is actually inside the juicing screen. And then on this, there is no flap that needs to be removed to clean, so this can be actually a good thing because you don't have to remove the flap to clean. But the bad thing is, because there is no flap, there's basically no back pressure other than the hole size that's keeping the pulp inside the machine and letting it eject basically whenever the time is right. In addition, this ejection port where the pulp comes out is a little bit harder to get into because although it is wide here, it goes to a smaller, narrower space that you will have to use the end of the toothbrush style cleaning tool to kind of get in there and dislodge all the pulp. This piece is actually also heavy. All the juicing parts on both these machines, as far as I'm aware, are also BPA free. Set that down there. Onto the VSJ. This bowl is a bit different. Once again, it has that juice flap. This is definitely a lighter duty juice flap. This also has basically a raised up gasket in the middle of the unit. And so, you know, if you're juicing improperly, juice may leak onto the motor housing of the machine. Although the latest model, Omega VSJ, has a much better gasket than they originally had. So you shouldn't really get leaking unless you're really not juicing properly. The other thing on this is that on the bottom of here, there's basically a little flap. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I just pulled out the little flap. It's like right here, this little black thing. So you should pull out this flap when you're done juicing to clean it and to basically clean this passageway. And then before you're ready to juice, you should actually just plug this flap in. Now it's this flap's job to put a little bit of back pressure on the pulp inside the machine, and it will not allow it out until the pulp inside is pretty wrung out and pretty dry. Then it lets the pulp pass through. Now I like on the VSJ843, the little area to get into to clean is actually a lot bigger. Actually, I could even get my finger in there, although the hole that the pulp goes through is smaller, so this can be a challenge. Generally, it's not too much of a challenge unless you're juicing something with like a lot of seeds. So like, for example, I juice mature cucumbers with big seeds. They tend to get stuck in this little hole. Things like cantaloupe seeds, if you're juicing a lot of cantaloupe seeds, they could also get stuck in the hole. But for random seeds here and there, like in an orange or in an apple, in a pear, they're not really going to be a problem or get stuck. Especially if you're following my juicing tips, like you want to always juice something like a root vegetable after a fruit to help push that soft pulp right through. So yeah, that's pretty much the bowls. I guess we'll assemble each one of these machines. So assembly on each of these machines is super simple. You're basically just going to put both bowls on. Then you're going to take your automatic wiping blade and you're going to take the screen and you just basically plop that in there. And then this basically gets seated down. You line up a red dot here with a red dot over here. And then on the VSJ843, you basically just put the screen in all the way, and then the screen kind of locks down. And it'll basically drop down on you as you're turning it. Then we're going to go ahead and take the auger, put the auger in the Kuvings, and that just kind of locks into place. We're going to take the auger in the VSJ, and we're going to drop that down in there and push it down so that the little keyways for the wiping blade kind of go in place. Then we're going to take the top. There's a little red dot here on the top. You're going to line up the red dot here to open, and then you're just going to slide it to close. And that's basically set up. And on the VSJ, there's a little orange arrow, and you're going to line that up to the left of the orange arrow up here, and then turn it to the left. It'll lock in place, and it's all ready and set up, ready to go. The next thing I want to do is do a quick sound test. So this is what the Kuvings CS600 sounds like. So it's like a nice motor whine. Here is the VSJ843. So if I had to say, I'm not like a sound expert or anything, I'd say probably this unit is probably about 5 decibels quieter. So if you really want a more quiet juicer, without the maybe higher pitch whine, the VSJ is definitely a way to go. That being said, let's talk about some of the specifications. We talked about the price. This guy is 4 times the price of this guy over here. But the unfortunate thing is this machine also has a lot lower and less length of time of the warranty. So this machine only has a 1-year warranty. It is a commercial machine, and because it's a commercial machine, they figure juice bars are going to use it a lot, so they don't want to give a long warranty on it. So they give a 1 year, and yes, that's even for home users, so that's a big negative in my opinion. Whereas if you get the Omega VSJ843, it has the longest warranty in the industry. 15 years warranty. So if this machine ever breaks due to no fault of your own, if you put a knife, a fork, or anything in there that you're not supposed to, and it breaks, they're not going to cover that. But if it breaks due to no fault of your own, Omega will cover it and, repair or replace your machine for you. So that's real important. Oh, and I want to stop there for a second. If you guys enjoy my videos, like my videos, these videos have been helpful for you so that you could select the best juicer for you, I would encourage you guys to support me in my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. This allows me to literally have lights on, to pay my bills, and to put food on my table. So I would appreciate if you guys would support me by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. And we sell both the VSJ843 and the Kuvings CS600. I basically try to play no favorites. Of course, I have juicers I like based on using them all, and I like certain things that juicers have. But I like to share with you guys the truth about all the different juicers on the market so that you guys can make the best choice and find the best juice for you, because I know by getting the right juicer and more importantly using it on an everyday basis, you will make positive changes in your life. You will see the benefits of getting more fruits and vegetables, especially the leafy green vegetables, into your diet like I have, like many of my customers have over the years. And I could only continue to make these videos if you guys support me. So I want to thank you guys in advance for those of you guys that have supported me, and or that will support me, and thank you guys for those of you guys that have supported me in the past. It is much appreciated. Anyways, on with the show. Yeah, the warranty length, 15 years, 1 year, that's pretty significant. If I had to say anything, I mean, this unit has probably the strongest motor of any juicer that I'm aware of. It could run 24 hours straight. This has a 30-minute duty cycle. I mean, other than that, they're both vertical slow juicers, and they're going to juice for you. This actually comes with the larger containers, which is kind of nice. These containers on this unit are a little bit smaller. They're not going to hold as much. Oh yeah, the other thing I want to mention is that this machine also has some attachments available. These two attachments here. So this is actually called the sorbet attachment, used for making frozen fruit sorbets. And the frozen fruits will basically just get ground up by that heavy-duty motor to make your frozen fruit sorbets with this attachment that is available at additional cost. In addition, the CS600 has another attachment besides the sorbet attachment. It has the smoothie attachment, which once again is an option. And basically this will allow you to turn your juicer into a kind of blender to make smoothies. And this would be a low RPM blender because it's grinding at a slow pace, whereas most blenders grind up things at 30,000, 20,000 RPMs, adds a lot of air into it and can lessen nutrients. Of course, this can't really be used for any other functions a blender could do aside from making water-rich smoothies. You know, and basically it's going to make it, you know, not super fine, and will leave a little bit of pulp on the inside of the machine, so you will have some wastage, whereas in a true blender you wouldn't have that wastage. That being said, I personally prefer using a vacuum blender such as a Kuvings SV500 instead of using their juicer as a smoothie maker. Now, I do like the sorbet attachment they have for the CS600. Now on the CS600 it is available separately, but the interesting thing is on their home model, the C7000 model, the sorbet attachment is included, as well as on their home model. Their home model has a 10-year warranty. So I mean, if you want to get performance similar to this, and you're not really using it in a juice bar, you don't really have a super huge family of 10, I would encourage you guys to get the home unit. You're gonna save a ton of money and use the additional $1,000 that you're saving to put in a garden to grow your own food. Super important in this day and age. Now on the VSJ843, there are no such attachments. They don't have these available. But however, you can make sorbets and nut butters in the VSJ843 if you follow my specific instructions that are approved by the manufacturer. So check the link down below. That being said, the motor definitely is not quite as powerful, and frozen fruits can basically stop up the VSJ843 in its tracks. So another thing to be aware of. Oh, and the other thing that I really like about the CS600 is it actually comes with a really nice recipe booklet. Now, yeah, you could go out and buy a recipe booklet, you know, juicing recipes, but it's nice that they actually come with one, and I hope that more manufacturers in the future would include, you know, juicing recipe books with their juicers, so that people could get right in and get into drinking some healthy, fresh juices so they can improve their lives. I really do like the additional features that the juicers offer besides, you know, making juices like the sorbets, like the smoothies. Also, the VSJ843 can make nut butters, and also both these machines will actually extract nut milks, which I really like a lot. And I would encourage you guys to get off the animal-based milks and get on more plant milks. My favorite plant milk is actually coconut milk, and if I remember, I'll post a link down below on how you guys can make coconut milk in either of these two juicers. Anyways, the next thing I want to do in this episode is actually we're just going to go ahead and do a juice-off comparison test to show you guys which juicer will reign supreme in this juice-off comparison. So as you guys can see, I'm set up and all ready to juice. And the first thing I like to do in all my juice-offs is do a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair and even comparison. So let's go ahead and do a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a close-up on the scales there. We got basically all organic carrots, and on this side we got 3.18 ounces, and over on this side looks like we also got 3.18 ounces. So yeah, 3.18 ounces on both scales. Looks like we got a fair fight. So now that we know we have a fair fight, let's go ahead and move these scales out of the way. And as I do, I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about each of these juicers. So basically the VSJ843 runs at a total of 43 revolutions per minute. And that's actually probably one of the slowest juicers out there, right? I generally prefer juicers that run at a slow RPM. They're going to preserve more nutrients. You know, as compared to high-speed juicers, which I would consider over 3,000, you know, RPMs or 1500 RPMs. That's getting really high, but in the hundreds, even in 100 RPM, that's really slow. The Kuvings whole slow juicer Chef CS600 actually runs at 60 RPMs, and so like you might be thinking, John, does the 43 RPMs make higher quality juice than the 60? Well, you know, the RPM difference is like 17 or whatever. I don't think that's any significant difference in the quality of the juice. So yeah. But so here's the thing, like this has a small feed chute, this has a wide feed chute, and in some instances, you know, the wide feed chute can be quite helpful. So in the instance that you're juicing a lot of whole fruits, you know, apples, pears, big pieces of watermelon, tomatoes, you know, even whole bell peppers literally will fit into this feed chute with this 3.5 inch wide drop down without any issue, so you won't have to cut it. The machine will do all that for you, whereas the VSJ, you will have to pre-cut some produce to fit in the smaller feed chute. Of course, this depends on what you're juicing. Today we're juicing some carrots. Some of them tend to be fairly fat in diameter, and they might barely fit in if I squeeze them or push really hard, but they might get stuck, so I'm probably going to take a knife and cut them down as I juice them. Meanwhile, on the Kuvings, you know, I could probably break up the carrots into pieces and drop it through the hatch, or I could try to feed it through the back feed chute, which in this case, this carrot barely fits into the back feed chute anyway, so I'll probably just end up breaking them in half and just dropping them down in here for speed anyways. And so the other thing I want to say is that leafy greens, if you're juicing a lot of leafy greens, right, they should be pre-cut anyways. Even if you have a 3.5 inch wide feed chute juicer, you got to pre-cut your leafy greens and your celery, otherwise they may jam or clog when they're basically making a right angle turn as they're ejecting out of the juicer. In addition, when juicing leafy greens in either of these two machines, you should be juicing it with something else to help push those leafy greens through the machine so that you can get all the juice out of them. Once again, please be sure to watch my video, Juice Like a Pro Nanny Vertical Slow Juicer, for that. Alright, so I want to see today how long it takes to make a juice in each of these juicers. I'll be using the VSJ843 juicer first, and to that extent, I will be using a stopwatch app so you guys can see the whole, how long it takes for the whole juicing process here. So today I'll be using actually a sieve here, which is actually, we have two identical sieves, you know, the same hole size, to strain out the juice as it comes out of the juicer to see which juicer creates more pulp, because I know some of you guys out there might like pulp, some of you guys don't like pulp, and some of you guys don't really care. I would say it's always easier just to drink the pulp that comes out of the machine. It's probably better for you anyways. I personally kind of don't like pulp in my juices for some reason. Generally, I will take the pulp and run it back through the juicer to get some of the juice out of the pulp, and then all the pulp generally will basically go to feed my worms, although sometimes I will actually take the pulp and then blend it with coconut water and then run that mixture back through the juicer to get a coconut water infused carrot juice. Alright, and I'll post a link down below how to get up to 25% more juice out of your juice pulp, and I show that technique in there. Anyways, I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and hit the start button on here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and turn this machine on and get juicing. So the smaller carrots could basically just drop in, and as you guys are noticing, I'm just dropping the whole carrots in the VSJ843, and it's not stopping, right? That's because the newest models of the VSJ843, the latest inventory that came in that we are selling at discount juicers, actually has a more powerful or a motor with more torque than the previous model from, you know, say 3 years ago that I had originally used. So if you saw me use like a white machine that would stop up a lot, this machine has greatly been improved. That being said, even if you have a fat, wide diameter carrot, you might not want to drop it in there because it could stop it up. So I still will use the drop-in technique and pull-out technique just to get it past part of the widest points. As you guys can see, really important, I'm not overloading this juicer. I'm not putting one carrot in until the last one is pretty much done grinding, and you can kind of hear when it's done grinding. Now we're going to go ahead and drop that guy in. That kind of had a little bit fatter bottom, so we're going to let that work on a little fat piece and then pull it out a little bit. I think to save you guys some time, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and play some music, speed this up for you guys, and we'll come back at you when I'm about done. Alright, so that has worked amazingly well. I did not have to use my knife or cutting board to feed in any of the carrots. Even the widest one fit in with a little bit of a with some little bit of help and pushing it in there. And the new model VSJ that we now stock in inventory that was built 2018 and even late 2017 did not have a problem with stopping on carrots. So I'm glad they got this issue worked out on their machines. That was the last carrot going in, and the most important thing is when you're done juicing in any vertical slow juicer, you want to put the last item in, and you want to let it run a little bit before you shut that machine off. You know, if pulp is still flowing, that means the machine is still working, juice is still trying to get expelled, and you know, we are getting just a few more drips. It looks like pulp's pretty much stopped. We're going to go ahead and turn this guy off, and we're going to go ahead and hit the stop button. And it looks like that took me about 4.5 minutes approximately to juice all those carrots, about 3 pounds, in the VSJ843. Now let's find out how long it takes in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Chef. Okay. Now we're going to juice in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Chef. Let's hit the start button, turn this machine on, and drop these guys in. So the small ones I'm just going to drop in through the back chute that fit in fine. The machine basically just starts grinding it up. Like, really, man, this thing is super powerful. Grinds it all up, the juice starts coming out there, and the pulp starts flowing out that side. I'm going to wait until each carrot is processed until I add the next one. This carrot is a little bit too big to fit in the chute, so we're just going to take a piece of it and drop it in the trap door. We're going to let it work on this carrot, and you can really hear the machine kind of bog down a little bit while it's grinding that carrot up. Because this machine actually takes a larger piece and grinds a larger piece at one time to literally extract all the juice out, whereas the Omega will basically cut off a small piece and work on a little bit smaller piece at the same time. Now we are getting some carrot back up at the top of the auger that's actually not getting ejected in. Let's see, another big fat carrot. We're just going to go ahead and break off a piece of this. Drop it in the trap door. I really kind of think the trap door is kind of cool. And once again, drop that last piece of carrot through the back one. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and repeat this process, speed this up for you guys to save you guys some time. So we're down to the last carrot on the Kuvings CS600 juicer. It's been working really well. It has not stopped once. Drop that last carrot in there and let it basically power grind it all up into juice. I think everything's been working fairly well so far. This one actually has created a lot more pulp than the VSJ843. Once again, we're going to go ahead and let this run. It continues to dribble out just a little bit. If I was the designer of this machine, I'd probably make the spout a little bit longer because the juice comes out and wants to dribble back, especially when you're using a lower collection cup than the one that they do supply for you. Alright, I'd say that juicer is pretty much done. We're going to go ahead and turn that off. And we're going to go ahead and hit stop. And that machine took about 4 minutes, 5 seconds. So I'd say basically, because of the wider feed chute, because it runs maybe a little bit faster, you saved a little bit of time, 30 seconds, when creating the juice from 3 pounds of carrots. If you're doing 6 pounds, you know, that might equal up to a minute of savings. That's not significant in my opinion, but I guess the next thing that is more significant to me is the actual yields. So let's go ahead and close these spout caps and pull these guys front and center to find out which juicer made more yield. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shake down both of these pulps here that were created. And actually what I want to do today for you guys, I want to get kind of the exact measurement of how much pulp was created. Now I could show you guys on this so you guys could see actually how much pulp was created, and easily the Kuvings looks like it has more pulp. And if I had to say, I'd say it probably made about twice as much pulp. But that being said, let's go ahead and measure it on the scale so we could actually see which one did create more pulp. So we're going to go ahead and switch this to grams there. And tap that pulp down. 25 grams, 41 grams, or 24 and 41. So I wasn't exactly right on double the pulp, but it did create a little bit more pulp. And if I go ahead and taste that pulp, the pulp on the VSJ is nice and fine. On the Kuvings, not quite as fine. So it's definitely more detectable if you were drinking it, and it's almost twice as much. All right. Anyways, let's get back to seeing how much each of these juicers made in the yield and do a close-up for you guys. All right, let's go ahead and do a close-up on the yields over on the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer Chef CS600. You guys look closely. I'm looking at the milliliter lines over there. Looks like we're looking at about 650 milliliters straight up. And then moving on over to the Omega VSJ843, looks like we got about 600 milliliters straight up. Wow, so I'm surprised. The Kuvings actually beat the Omega by 50 milliliters when juicing the same exact volume of carrots. Wow, I'm impressed. The Kuvings actually beat the Omega when juicing this amount of carrots by 50 milliliters. That's maybe like a little bit less than 10%. Let's go ahead and try the juices. So here's the VSJ843 juice. I've been waiting all day for my carrot juice. Nice and fine. Literally after straining, I'm not detecting any pulp. Definitely good. Next, the Kuvings juice. Once again, it's a good juice. I think I do detect some small particulate that was small enough to go through the sieve, but it's really not really an issue. So that may be one of the reasons for the bigger yield. But once again, I don't think that's an issue. All right. But what is an issue, in my opinion, 50 milliliters will yield. Hey, for some of you guys, John, yield's the most important thing. You know, for me, actually, the cleaning is the most important thing. So I want to go ahead and take these guys apart and show you guys what you need to do to clean them. All right, so over on the VSJ843, we'll pull off this top part, and underneath this top part, you guys can see it's fairly clean. There's not a whole lot in there, a few particles of carrot pulp. Next, we're going to go ahead and pull out the auger. You guys can see the auger there. I mean, there's definitely some carrot pulp stuck to the auger. Oops, that's falling off. And now there's some carrot pulp underneath the auger. The other thing I want you guys to notice is that the auger is discolored. You know, it was black, and now it's like kind of got this orangish sheen to it. That's completely normal. You know, when you're juicing the carotenoid or the orange colors in the carrots, turns the auger orange. It'll actually also turn you orange from the inside out. And other than being maybe some people don't like looking kind of having an orange tinge, it's actually a good thing in my opinion to be orange, because actually that's the orange pigments, the carotenes, beta-carotenes getting into your skin to give you basically sun resistance from the inside out. I'm not a big believer in sunblocks for the most part, especially a lot of them have chemicals in there, but I am a believer in the power of plants to protect you from the sun as well as other things out there. Next, let's go ahead and pull out the juicing screen there so you guys can see the juicing screen. Let's go ahead and pull that even out better for you. So this is the juicing screen. You guys can see a close-up. You know, there is some pulp stuck in the holes, but it's not like super jammed in there. And then actually also inside the screen there, you know, there's definitely some pulp in there, but it's not super packed in there. Fairly easy to clean. And then also here's the juicing bowl here. The juicing bowl has some pulp in the bottom. You know, mostly what I do is I turn the hot water on high on the kitchen sink, and then I basically put it on the sprayer function, so it has like a nice hard spray, kind of like when you're taking a shower, you want to get sprayed water on. And then I spray all the parts off. I take a dish brush that I get at IKEA for 50 cents. I put some dish soap on it and basically just scrub with soap and water all the parts. And if you scrub the auger long enough, right after you have the carotenoid stains on there, they'll come off. But if you just do it in water, it's not going to come off. The soap really helps to pull those stains off. Now, the stains are only cosmetic. It's not going to really hurt the juicer. All right. Next, let's go ahead and move over to the CS600 to clean this baby. You're going to go ahead and take off this top housing. And you guys can see there's actually a little more pulp in this top housing up in here that actually didn't get juiced. So we're going to set that down. Then next we have this auger. We're going to go ahead and pull out this auger here. This auger, once again, you know, not a lot of pulp on the auger. Probably similar amount to the Omega, as well as underneath the auger there is pulp underneath there as well. Totally normal. And then let's go ahead and check out this juicing screen. So inside this juicing screen, we'll show you guys, there's actually you know, more pulp inside than on the VSJ auger, you know, right? Or the VSJ screen. In addition, what's nice is all the pulp is in the bottom of this screen. It's not in the bottom of the bowl. Oh, the other thing I want you guys to notice is look very closely, right? This is something really important to me because I scrub my juicers after every demo, after every time I juice. And the Kuvings screen will take me at least twice as long to clean as a VSJ screen. Look at that. Do you guys see the difference if I rotate the Kuvings screen? The Kuvings screen literally has pulp, you know, coming out of the holes that are like ground in. Yeah, the VSJ has some pulp in the holes, but it's not like ground in. So this is going to be significantly easier to clean on the VSJ, right? So now you got to think, hey, John, you got 50 more milliliters of juice on the Kuvings, and if you have a maid or somebody else cleaning your juicer, then you want to go with this one. But if you're cleaning the juicer yourself like I do, then you're probably going to want to go for the easy cleaning and give up 50 milliliters of juice, because trust me, you know, you have to scrape this down and unclog it. It's significantly harder than just brushing it down with an IKEA dish brush to clean the Kuvings screen. And I hope companies would actually make this easier. Of course, their wiping blade, you got to clean underneath the little gear spokes there, all the little pulp that usually generally just washes out. And of course the juicing bowl on the Kuvings, actually it's a lot easier to clean than even the VSJ, because there's like, it's clean. There's no like pulp in the bottom, although you do have to clean this little spinning gear that's actually white that can show juice stains. So actually if it was me, I would probably make that little gear black. So, I mean, that's it. There you have it. I just like to show you guys like it is so you guys could make the most informed decision. I guess at the end of every Juice Off episode, I will declare a winner. And, you know, the winner to me is not just the one that made the most yield, but it's, to me, it offers the best value and the one that I honestly would choose. And in this case, although the Kuvings made more yield by a little bit, I would actually choose the VSJ843 for a number of reasons, right? Number one, the price, right? You could literally buy 4 of these guys and give them to all your friends and family and neighbors, co-workers, right? Instead of getting one of these, and I think that would be a lot better investment in money to buy juicers to give to friends and family so that they could get healthier too if they're going to actually use them, because I have given gifts of juicers that sit around and it makes me sad. Or the other thing you could do is you could, you know, get a VSJ843 and all the other money that you would have used to buy this, put in a garden, you know, then you'll have unlimited produce. Like I have unlimited produce in my backyard, where if I give up 50 milliliters of yield, I don't care, because I got all these tree collards that I got to use anyways, right, before they go bad. So I think that would be a much better use. In addition, this machine only has a 1-year warranty, right? What if this machine breaks in the 2nd year? Not that it would, and you do get 2 top sets, and the most likely parts to fail are the top sets, not the motor. And I believe this motor is quite durable. It's probably going to last 20 plus years. But the top sets may break, especially if you're not using the juicer properly. It only has a 1-year warranty, whereas the VSJ843 has a 15-year warranty, the longest warranty in the industry, right? And also I like that it actually put less pulp in the juice overall. And you know, the speed, although it did take a little bit longer, 30 seconds longer to juice, you know, it's going to be a lot easier to clean, as I showed you guys. And to me, that's probably one of the most important things. I want the easiest juicer to clean that makes the highest yield and a high quality juice. And I think I found that in the VSJ843. Of course, if you want some of the other features, like you want to make sorbet with super hard frozen fruits, hey, the CS600 is going to be the way to go, because even with the new improved motor on the VSJ843, it's definitely not as powerful as on the CS600. Of course, the CS600 could also make those smoothies with the smoothie attachment that is an optional accessory, whereas the VSJ843 does not have that option. You know, if you want to make things like nut milks, you know, based on my testing, the VSJ843 will make better nut milks than the CS600, just because it tends to extract things a bit better, especially when you don't have something hard and fibrous to push through the juicer. And so that's pretty much it for this episode. If you want to buy the CS600 or the VSJ843, hey, be sure to check the links down below so you can purchase it at discountjuicers.com, which will support me so I can continue to make these educational videos showing you guys actually how it is and creating big messes for me that I need to clean up. Also, be sure to like this video if you liked it. I'll do more videos in the future with the CS600, maybe one on nut milk upcoming, and maybe comparing this to the pure cold press 2-stage juicer, which will be fun. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on any of my new and upcoming episodes. I'm coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up or what I'll be juicing or what new products I'll be comparing or showing you on this YouTube channel. Also, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 500 episodes at this time, comparing and contrasting all the different appliances to allow you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables in your life so that you guys can be healthier. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.